In the quiet village of Umulogo, the rooster's crow often brought peace. But on this particular day, it awakened the cries of a girl who had just lost everything. Her name was Adaeze. She was 16. And her life had just been sold for 500,000 Nigerian nairas. Adaeze had always wanted to become a nurse. Her dreams weren't wild, they were purposeful. She wanted to help others. She had watched too many women give birth on the floor of the local clinic. She had seen children cough blood and die from fevers. She told her father, "Papa, I will wear that white uniform and make you proud." Her father smiled. "My Adaeze, the healer of Umulogo." But when Papa fell ill, those dreams began to slip away. The doctors in Owerri said it was his lungs. He needed oxygen injections and scans they could not afford. Her mother borrowed, sold, begged, but the bills only piled up. Until a man called Obinna visited. Obinna was 44, a wealthy widower from a nearby town. He owned fish ponds, poultry farms, and transport buses. He had lost his wife 5 years ago. No children, just money and loneliness. When he heard of Mr. Okeke's situation, he sent word, "I'll clear the hospital bills, but I want Adaeze's hand in marriage." Adaeze's mother wept for days. Her father, in pain and fear, reluctantly agreed. No one told Adaeze until the very morning the marriage rites began. The wrapper itched her skin. The beads were heavy on her neck. The makeup artist said, "Smile for the pictures." But Adaeze's face was like stone. She didn't cry. Not even when Obinna whispered, "You look beautiful." She just stared into nowhere. In her heart she screamed, "I don't want this life. I don't want this man. I want school. I want freedom." But it was too late. Obinna's mansion was big but cold. He bought her clothes, perfumes, gadgets, but they all felt like shackles. She wasn't allowed to go out. She couldn't talk to friends. Even her mother's calls were monitored. Worse, she had to cook for him every night and sit by his side like a trophy. He never raised his hand, but his control was like a wall around her. One night, she sat by the window and wrote in her journal, "Is this what they call marriage? Where the wife is a statue, and the husband holds the remote." During the Easter season, Obinna's nephew, Kenechukwu Keen, came to visit. A 22-year-old university student. Calm, intelligent, and gentle. He had manners. He greeted Adaeze with respect, and saw the sadness in her eyes. They began to talk, first about books, then about life. He gave her an old biology textbook. She cried quietly as she turned the pages. He began sneaking in novels, poetry, even her favorite biscuit, shortbread. For the first time in a year she laughed. Obinna noticed the closeness, and he didn't like it. One afternoon, he slapped a book from Adaeze's hand and shouted, "Do you think this is a university campus? You are my wife. Behave like one." Keen stood between them. "Uncle, she's a child. You married a girl, not a woman." That night, Obinna packed Keen's bags and sent him away. The next day, Adaeze attempted something bold. She tried to escape. With 5,000 Nigerian nairas Keen had secretly given her, she boarded a bus to Owerri. She didn't have a plan. She just wanted to breathe. But Obinna had contacts. Before she reached the motor park, she was caught and brought back. He locked her in a room for 3 days. No food. No water. On the 4th day, he came in, sat down and said, "Why don't you just accept this life? I saved your family." She replied weakly, "You didn't save us. You bought me. That's not love. That's ownership." 1 week later, a woman arrived. Her name was Barrister Chioma. Keen had contacted a human rights group before he left. Adaeze was underage. The marriage was invalid. Binna fought, tried to bribe, threatened. But the group came with police, media, and proof. In front of flashing cameras, Adaeze stepped out of the house. A free girl. She returned home. Her father was now walking without aid. Their debts had been cleared, but at a cost no one could repay. Her mother fell on her knees. "Forgive us, Adaeze. We chose survival over your freedom." Adaeze nodded but said nothing. Her heart was a battlefield of love and scars. The human rights group sponsored her through SSS-3 and then to the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. She studied nursing with fire in her bones. She spoke at conferences about child marriage. She wrote essays that made newspapers. She received a scholarship abroad. Keen stayed in touch. He never rushed her, never crossed the line. When she turned 22, she sent him a message. "I'm ready to try again, this time on my own terms." At 23, Adaeze stood before a crowd of girls in Owerri, delivering a speech. "They married me off at 16, thinking they ended my story. But I turned that page and started a new chapter. Girls are not property. We are the future. And the future is rising." And in the front row, her mother, her father, and Keen watched with tears. Because the girl they once handed over for survival had become a voice for freedom. This is the gracious voice. If this story moved you, like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful African stories that inspire, heal, and speak for the voiceless. Studio microphone, broken heart. Let's make every story count. Bye bye.